November 18th, 2025 meeting of the Bruceville-Eddy Economic Development Corporation Board of Directors. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Good evening. All right, so tonight we have a lot on the agenda. I'd like to start off by congratulating Ms. Melissa Futch for her win in the City Council election. I'd like to introduce everybody on the board here. We have Sonda Prater as a director to my right, C.W. Warden as a director to my right as well. We have Mr. Marshall, who is here, but he's in the parking lot dealing with an issue. Oh, that's Mr. Marshall right there, I think, probably. Or maybe not, but anyway, Mr. Marshall's here. There he is. I have Patsy Duty to my left, the treasurer. Okay. Member. Ginger Tolbert. I don't know why I blanked there. I've known you for decades. Ginger Tolbert all the way to our left here, so we want to welcome them. And we have Renee, City Secretary, and Pam in the back as well. And the place is packed tonight. We appreciate citizen involvement. So welcome all to the meeting of the Bruceville-Eddy Economic Development Corporation. All right. CW, could I ask you please to do an invocation? All right, while we're standing here, start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And then we'll go next with the Texas Pledge. Honor the Texas flag. Pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God. Mine's on.
I can hear President, but I can't hear the rest.
Okay.
Well, they'll have to, when they go to speak.
All right, roll call. We kind of did it. I guess one by one from the right. Ms. Prater, if you'll go first.
Sonda Prater.
C.W. Wharton.
Jim Marshall.
Jim Marshall.
Darren Weaver.
Gail Pyle.
Ginger Tolbert.
All right, thank you, everybody. All right, citizens' presentations. Speakers are limited to 5 minutes each. The board of directors cannot respond to matters not listed on the agenda until a future meeting. Pam, do we have anybody scheduled to speak tonight?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. City Secretary, okay. Mayor Linda Owens or the City Secretary will jointly administer the oath of office to the recently appointed directors of the Bruceville-Eddy Economic Development Corporation.
Okay, so I'm going to ask that Ginger Tolbert stand, Clive Wharton stand. All right, and if you would, go ahead and raise your right hand, and we'll say, oh, well, it's everyone who is reappointed, so you're up next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have to.
Okay, so you guys will say I, and then state your name. So I
Darren Weaver,
Ginger Tolbert.
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will Eddy Economic Development Corporation Director
Bruceville-Eddy Economic Development Corporation Director
of the State of Texas
of the State of Texas
and will to the best of my ability
and will to the best of my ability
preserve,
preserve,
protect,
protect,
and defend
and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of the state.
and of the state,
So help me God.
so help me God.
And one more, if you guys will, you can raise your hand and then we'll pick them back up. And then again, just say I and then state your name.
I, Darren Weaver,
Do solemnly swear.
do offered,
Promised.
promised,
Promise to pay.
contributed,
Or promised.
to contribute any money
To contribute any money.
or thing of value
Or
or promise any public office
or employment
for the giving
for
at which I was elected,
or as a reward
to
secure my appointment
or confirmation,
whichever this cause may be.
so help me God.
You may take your seat, and I'll give you guys a poster, and then I'll give them at the end of the meeting.
Okay.
Thank you guys.
Okay. Item number 4, introduction of newly appointed directors. Forum for newly appointed directors: Ginger Tolbert, seat 1, C.W. Wharton, seat 3, Patsy Duty, seat 5, and Darren Weaver, seat 7.
Okay, I'm Ginger Tolbert. I was born and raised in Bruceville-Eddy. I have lived here essentially my entire life, except for the years I spent in college. I'm a professional engineer licensed in the state of Texas, and I've been practicing for 30 years in the water and wastewater industry.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bruceville-Eddy for about 76 years. I raised my family here, and I am retired from the City of Bruceville-Eddy Water Department.
Thank you, ma'am. Well, I'll just do it in order. I'm Darren Weaver. I've been here since 1996. Retired Army officer. Still work for the Department of War and the Defense Health Agency. I run a small business in town up on the corner there. Have a small ranch. Raised our kids here.
I'm C.W. Wharton, moved here in 1991, raised 3 kids here, run a business out in Westphalia, done construction most of my life, and I'm from Hewitt, Texas originally, so.
Thank you, Mr. Wharton. And I think I got directors to discuss, consider, and possibly take action to elect officers consisting of the president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary of the board of directors.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I make a motion that Patsy Duty continue on as the treasurer.
Second.
I make a motion.
Hold on. So for Patsy Duty, Weaver did the first one. Who did the second?
Me, Ginger.
Thank you.
I'll do it.
Okay, and then all in favor?
Aye.
CW? And then all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And then the other officer is the secretary, correct? So I make a motion that Ms. Sandra Prater continue as the EDC secretary.
President.
Oh, we have a vice president. Who'd like to be the vice president?
I think CW. CW or,
He's got more experience than I do.
none of us have experience when we got here.
I'll make a motion that C.W. Wharton be appointed. Am I missing anybody? Do I need any assistance? Anybody feel like they need an assistant with their role? Okay. I will go on record again, as I did last year, saying that I am going to oppose like that, and that I am going to actively pursue grocery, healthcare, and banking, because I think gas stations are taking care of themselves. So we'll update on that, but if you still want me to be the president, that action to approve the minutes from May 13th and August 4th, 2025, the meetings of the Bruceville-Eddy Economic Development Corporation. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Correction I'd like to be made.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
My name is Ms. Bell, first name. There's no line.
Okay. All right. With that correction on the minutes, can I get a motion to approve both of those minutes?
I make a motion.
I second.
All in favor? Aye. I think I should be congratulated by how well I'm doing tonight on this Robert's Rules of City Council Duty Treasurer.
Okay. Currently, our checking account, we have $62,000, $70.51. Mr. Michael? Oh, sorry. Excuse me. Currently, we have $62,070.51.
And such, that those monies have not been spent yet because I have not been satisfied with the product as it's been presented to me. So, and I'm still not satisfied with it as of today. So when they give me a product, either I'm going to get a product that I'm not going to accept one that doesn't have enough splash. So, but anyway, of the 60,000, 3,500 has been set aside already. But we're going to talk about some other things tonight. Judy. All right, economic development projects. Directors to discuss the brief changes within the economic development projects for the last. You talk about this vote thing, right? The ballot. We're going to vote on priorities. Is that what that this agenda item? Okay, so 2 years ago when we were formed, early on we sat down and we said, okay, here's our priorities. Here's where we're going to work projects on and have accomplished some stuff, right? But now that we're in our third year of this, and things have happened in each of your packets, and these are things that we refresh the direction that we're going. And so, just a couple of things that are on there or not. I didn't feel like we needed to vote on it. So it's got a priority. We already made it a priority. We got the funding from the city council. So I didn't put. In a second, I'd like to turn it over to Patsy and have her kind of report where we're at on that. But they have some short-term wins on that ballot that don't take so much money. Look at the items on the ballot and say, hey, what do we want to be the priorities going forward? Whatever we decide is going to be a priority, one of us is going to have to take on each priority, right? Which we've done in the past.
There you go.
All right. So what I put on the ballot is this, okay? And then just so the public, to each board member, I hope you've had a chance to kind of look at it. And then everything in red are notes that I made a year and a half ago, right? Council a few weeks ago gave them an update on things, and then to remind them that we need a comprehensive plan. Now, the variable, I think we're going to have to sync and put our heads together with the city manager, right? So I don't know that we can. That's kind of a variable on things. But I did present these things to what we've done to the developable commercial properties. Okay, so I'll explain that. We have some money and we have some predictable income, okay? And what the EDCs in those towns are clearly trying to do is steer development, right? They have leaned forward and they have, right? That may be like in a bigger municipality like Hewitt. Hewitt bought a big chunk of land and they developed an industrial park, obtaining properties, because other towns are doing just that thing. And if you pay attention as you travel around Texas, you'll see what I mean. So I wanted to put that on the ballot, at least for us to think about the possibility of doing that. All right, next one is construction of promotional highway monuments. Ms. Duty.
I have a couple of pictures of signs, but I was waiting for the city council to approve what company was going to do in the water tower downtown. And so I'm waiting until they decide on what company is going to do that, and painting, repairing lights, and decal. So that's where I stand right now. There's places that I've been, and the price is $30,000 for a bricklayer to see if he would be interested in building like 2 brick. Yes.
Well, let me add to what Patsy's saying here, just for like, I think it's fine. Yeah, I mean, but you know, I think we can all agree we might be able to get that a little cheaper, right? Hurdles that we have to meet before we could even go forward with this, and have to buy it, but we can't just throw anything on there we want. They have their own requirements, so we have to jump through hurdle.
To get a land approved.
How much are they talking?
Get it permitted by TxDOT.
Yeah.
So typically if it's in their zone, and that has to do with how far away it is from the lanes of traffic, and you would face other decision points like landscaping around it. So then if it's lighted, you have electrical service and or solar. Those are all anticipated in that for temples. As you enter Temple, their monument's huge. We did that at no cost for the city of Temple, who is a client. You could probably, for the city, work with them on a permit if you go down that route. but they do have requirements.
Okay, so, thank you, Ms. Tolbert. So I like Patsy, all the work that you put into that, by the way. And going forward, I would just ask you to, and I really appreciate that. So, anyway, that's on the ballot there. Next one, revamping, maintaining of Bruce 90s, or early aughts, right? It's barely functional. It does nothing to promote the city. It's nested in some other budgeted thing that so Sonda has already done some preliminary work on web stuff. We need our own website to promote economic growth in Bruceville-Eddy, right? And so Renee and I talked, and I think we can all agree with the new travel stop that's open, which I'll talk about in a minute too, that we're gonna have more revenue coming in. So website, the EDC's website, the water department's website, just redo the whole thing, pay for it from EDC funds so council would be less likely to object, and pay the maintenance fee to keep it going. Bellmead, Colleen, Temple, and you look at how slick their websites are, it's like night and day. So I have it number 3 on the ballot measure there. I think that wherever we rank their own way and we just do the EDC's website, that's probably the easy button, right? But as long as we're doing the EDC's website, it would seem to me that we should just spruce up the city's website, right?
Well, the one they have now is not user-friendly.
It's not, right?
No.
And there's a whole lot more functionality in 2025 that can be on the city's website that we could just, to me, that is a cheap, easy, short-term win right there, right? But we gotta have buy-in from the new city manager, and we have to have buy-in from the city council. So if you rank that high, it's just not gonna happen overnight. We'll have times. Planning, coordinating, establishment of a farmer's market. I put that on the ballot because that is in the original 2013 comprehensive plan. It was a big part of the 2013 comprehensive plan that the citizens wanted a farmer's market. Now, we have other fests and market things going on, but not to the scale that I think this plan in pursue, then vote for that one. All right, helping the city council develop a comprehensive plan. Obviously, I have been talking about this for years. I have provided the strategy is, and we're all working towards the same goals. Kent and I were with the city staff. We're working with a firm to try to get us $300,000 in grant next week or so, and maybe where we're at with that. But even if we have 300 grand sitting in the bank, it's still 2 years out, right? 3 years out, right? And I don't think we can wait when we have sewer almost finished and businesses already coming to sit around and wait another 2-3 years for a comprehensive plan. So, you want to add anything, ladies?
I didn't know if you wanted us to mention it now or when we're going, and we do not know yet what the result is if we were able to get a grant to help us to pay for that. So we're still in a waiting period as a city. So we're hoping yes, but we're not sure at this moment. But just know it's still in the works and we're hoping to get that grant.
Okay. All right, well, however we rank that, I'm gonna propose that we stop waiting and we just do it ourselves, right? And we have the expertise on this board to help us do that. We have a framework of a plan already, of which half of which is now, if you vote for that, I think what you're voting for is that we're gonna take over the comprehensive plan. But again, we have a new city manager. He may not agree with that course of action, but, so. Anyway, next thing is obtaining developable commercial properties. I guess I copied and pasted that twice, so you can cross that one off. Working with city council to improve the downtown area. Okay, so I have to be cognizant, and I am fully aware that if I propose something as a business owner in this town, that it could perceive to be beneficial to my business, okay? So before we even did the renovation, to fix Market Street. In my opinion, Market and 3rd, Market and 4th, and Eagle Drive is all we have left of downtown. And it is an absolute mess right now, right? As a business owner, I can tell you that it's unsafe and someone's gonna get hurt. I've said that repeatedly to the city council, right? If there's some other portion of the city that we would consider downtown, someone raise their hand and let me know, right? I bought that before there ever was an EDC. It is what it is. So what I'm saying here is this. If that is downtown and will be the downtown of the future, which, by the way, it was sort of in this plan, then can we please talk about fixing it, right? And what I'm talking about is no more half-ass streetlights. We should want real streetlights, real sidewalks. So, if there's another part of town that should be a higher priority, I'm all ears. But that's where the people are in the middle of the night running around with kids, and someone's gonna get hurt, right? And so we have kicked this can down the road for years now, at least 8 years, right? I mean, if you've ever been there, whether you're eating at my restaurant or you're eating at our own, and none of it is safe, right? And when we get 430 new homes, whatever it is we're getting, and all the additional traffic that's gonna cause, plus whatever new businesses come in, oh, by the way, there's a 14-pump gas station that's gonna build across from the restaurant, right? It is just gonna be more of a nightmare, right? So, yes, I do own a business there. Yes, it would benefit my business, but what benefits my business also benefits the town. And so I feel like we need to at least talk about improving that part of our town. So that's why that's on there. Image to that part of the plan. Remember when they approved the development of the homes and we obtained a commitment for a 25-acre park, there was going to be a park board and we were going to have some role in the development of that park. Has anybody mentioned that? Anybody recall? So it just hasn't been talked about since it was approved, right? So parks are important to many people in this town, and we have a commitment. I think we need to get more aggressive with, put that on the agenda because maybe we need to get more aggressive on helping that get fleshed out. Okay. All right. Do we want to obtain property and establish an additional city park, right? Because again, parks come up from time to time. And so if you look at that agenda item and or that ballot item, if you think we can't wait 3 years for a park and you want to spend some money on a park, then make that a priority of yours, right? I don't know where that would go. I don't know how much that would cost. It can't happen overnight. I think even if the mayor said, okay, EDC, we're going to cede you a half acre behind City Hall here, right? I don't know, I'm just throwing that out there, right? Well, it ain't going to happen overnight. Hell, I got to get a purchase order to spend $1 of this money, right? So, and then we got to put it out to bids because anything over $3,500 has to go to bid. So nothing's going to happen fast. But if you think we need an additional city park other than the promised 25-acre park, then vote for that. Which I will remind you is right behind my restaurant, right? But there has been talk about painting the water tower into a promotional thing, right? My own wife wants me to put a spotlight on the water tower. My reply was, I'm not paying for that, right? I don't think it's a bad idea, but it's not coming out of restaurant money, right? The old water tower, before someone put an eagle on it, used to say it was white. James Tolbert would probably know if he were here. And it had Eddy in big letters and it had Texas right below it, right? That's what it was. So I don't know what it costs to paint a water tower. I'm sure it's several $1,000s. I don't know what it costs to light a water tower. It's probably a cheap win while we wait for monuments. Maybe you want to put a vote on that one. I don't know, on the write-in part of there, but not a bad idea, I guess. But again, I try to be transparent because I own that building, right? And it is what it is. Y'all put me on there that I didn't think of. Go ahead and speak up. If there's something else we want to put on the ballot down there on priorities. And what I mean by priorities is where do we prioritize our effort and where do we prioritize our money, right? So.
Darren, I have one thing
Yes, ma'am.
for consideration. And when we get into your comments on the comp plan, I've had it in there as well, but as we talk about encouraging commercial growth and maybe obtaining developable commercial property, in looking at driving growth, whether it be commercial or residential, in my line of work, what I see is, in today's world, available. If that is a current limitation, a potential avenue of participation, even on a small level, to make additional water available for that growth would be an item, in my opinion.
Thank you, Ginger. That's something also that James Tolbert proposed as well. I am not against it whatsoever. In any way, shape, or form am I against it. I certainly don't, as I recall. In the short term with the budget, maybe that we can kind of forecast, like let's just say the Travel Center triples our monthly budget. And so we're bringing in, instead of $4 grand a month, we're bringing in 12 grand a month or something. I don't know. That's a complete guess, right? Can we build water towers with that? Can we lay 12-inch lines? Can we? I don't think so, right? I don't think we have the budget or the bandwidth for that. But can we, if a business comes in, say the truck stop that just opened, let's just say theoretically they were 120 feet short from our water lines, right? Could we pay to, half of their water line bill to get them the water they needed? Sure. I mean, we could consider that, right? But big, large municipal water projects, I think, is beyond our financial ability and scope. Right? Getting any calls from developers because we don't have this sewer tightened up, right? When we had sewer started and everybody was optimistic, I was getting calls all the time. But now that it doesn't, it's going to be a while still, and there's some uncertainty, people don't want to throw money in here if they don't think they're going to have sewer, right? So I think that's kind of all stalled. Pam and I were talking before the meeting, and it looks like we may have a functional sewer system end of December, January, that period. But, I think the developers want to see water, and they want to see sewer. Electric handles itself, right? But we have plenty of electricity in town, but sewer, and it's working. I mean, Katie barred the door, the developers are going to pour in, right? As long as we have water, like Ms. Tolbert says. So. Okay, anybody else want to add anything there? Want to talk about any other things that we've talked about in the past that we might want to vote on? I'm talking like in the next year or two. That's kind of where I want us to make sure that we all agree with where we're going. Okay. All right, so what I'd like you to do is you get 5 choices. Whatever your number 1 priority is, put a 1 by it, put a 2 by your next priority, put a 3 by your next priority, and then we'll tabulate that. However, whatever project got the most number 1s, that'll be our number 1 priority. Whatever project got the most number 2s will be the next, and so on. Does that make sense?
I did not do that.
Do you want to just do this and then turn it in at the end of the meeting? We don't have to vote on it now, but. So what I'll do is once we've tabulated this, I will present this to City Council. And then the City Council can say, okay, we like your priorities, so be it, all in favor, aye, right? And if they don't like our priorities, since we all work for the City Council, then they may redirect me. They may say, well, we don't like your vote. Yeah? I mean, it's not like Mr. Wiggins ain't afraid to tell me no, right? All right. All right, so maybe by the end of the meeting, if we could gather those up. Okay. Item number 9, comprehensive plan review. Directors to discuss, consider, and possibly take review of recommended changes, discussion on strategies and ideas that will shape the future of Bruceville-Eddy as we begin to experience growth. Okay, so we already touched on it. I do think we need to involve the new city manager, obviously the city council. I don't think the city council has the bandwidth to focus on this right now. They're still focused on sewer. Do we wait, try to get a grant, or do we just forge ahead with what we get and try to make the best plan out?
Ahead with what we have. I think it's just too long of a wait, and I'm tired of waiting.
I concur.
All right. Ms. Tolbert, you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, move forward with
Okay.
working to improve what we already have.
Okay. So, anybody opposed to that? Does anybody here want to talk about waiting for the grant? Okay, so here's my ask for you, right? Will someone take this on and be the tip of the spear for doing this? Because if someone doesn't take the project on, it won't get done. because we don't have the staff to do it. It doesn't mean we can't all help with it. It just means I need a point person to take it on.
And we're on item 9 now, correct?
Correct?
Okay.
All right. Mr. Warden has agreed to take on a is it too much to ask that we try to, look, just because I put notes in there doesn't mean that's correct, right? Those are just my thoughts as I went through it item by item, okay? I'm not married to it. You're not gonna hurt my feelings, so don't worry about that. I was really writing it back in the day, trying to show the city that it wasn't gonna work, some of the things in this plan, right? So don't worry about hurting my feelings.
Have they reviewed this at all?
I gave them the opportunity to review it more than once, right? Now, whether they reviewed it, I do not know. They were given copies of it, but whether they actually reviewed it, I don't know. So, but-
Maybe this is something we can all like have a workshop and go over. You know,
Is that a PDF, or I think it is a PDF?
It's a
Can you-
PDF.
It's a PDF? I'm-
And I went through and made just some very broad comments as well that I can forward, and I'd be happy to help. I mean, some of this is in my wheelhouse, and we have some staff members at our office that deal with some of these items and statistics all the time.
Okay. So, yeah, I think that's a great idea to have a workshop. So can we set up a date for that, maybe next month? Because we have to publicize it, right? We have to have a public meeting, right?
would we do it in December or wait and do it in January?
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 Okay, all right,
Yeah.
okay. Let's set up a date in January in which we can sit down and work on it. All right, I appreciate that. All right, BEEDC webpage design. We kind of already talked about it. Sonda, can I ask you, since you are already working on that, to still be that point person? And then, but before you do any effort on it, if you can be there when we meet with the city, can you ladies set us up a city manager meeting? Give him 10 days to get his feet wet, and then can you set us up a meeting? It'd be nice if some of us could be there, but Sonda, especially you, because if we're proposing redoing the whole city webpage, then he's got to have buy-in on it, so.
Where did the webpage way at?
I don't know the answer to that. Do you know the answer to that? Who has the webpage who designed the webpage we have?
So in researching, it was like WordPress, and there was some other, if you look at our website, it's on the very bottom, but they're not really managing it. I know we use Extraco technology for our IT services, and when Pam and I reached out to that too, so we're just kind of doing the bare minimum of what we know to do with that. Now, I don't know if city admin knew more on the website, but going to something different where we can maybe just learn and grow with it, I think would be great.
Right.
Do we know when it was done, when it was established, or?
I'm trying to, I think,
Connie was here,
no, this
So-
is entirely different one.
entirely different one, okay.
I think when Sonia was here, she changed it, and then Kent was able to make changes on it.
Okay, so.
Yeah, because
It's
it was a
pushed-
different website before.
It's pushing a decade old, at
Yeah.
least, right? So, okay. So, and, I don't know, do we need a vote on this issue? I mean, it's part of one of our ballot measures, but I think we've all kind of decided that we need to do it, right? So, let's just make sure that all the key stakeholders agree that this needs to be done, and then we can, before you put a lot of effort into it, let's make sure we get buy-in. I'm kind of like the Red Baron, I don't pick fights I can't win, right? So I think we can win this one. We just have to make the right steps, right? And so I think step one is get city manager buy-in that we need a change. Then we talk about vendors. He may have a vendor, probably care. And then we decide to go forward, let city council consider it, and then we move forward, right? Okay.
President, so
if you don't mind, I'll just tell the board too what I told you earlier. Before you do have a packet from Cave Consulting, which was one of the vendors, and I'm just like President Weaver, we don't have to go with them. It's just an option. When I was city secretary in Beverly Hills, it was someone that we went with, and when talking with them again, they did say they manage 3 of the websites for the city of Clifton. They do their city page, their Chamber of Commerce page, and their economic development. If you combine them, they do give a discount. Again, this is it's just someone, like you said, city admin may come in and have a different vendor, but that is just one that you can look at if you did want to look into one, especially Sandra. So that's all I have. Thank you.
As an amateur municipal representative here, I do recall that anything over 3,500 has to be bid. Is that correct? I think that's correct. I think, what do you think there? I seem to recall Kent saying that anything under 35. Okay.
Does the city have an ordinance that's specific to EDC or a threshold that's different than the state?
I don't think they do.
Okay.
I don't remember.
I can look, we can look into it and we can send it out to you guys.
That may be, when we set up the EDC, that may be embedded in the EDC's
Yeah.
charter.
Yeah.
There
So I
could
would
be
need to
other
look.
guidelines that they've adopted related to that.
Okay. Do I need to, I'm thinking on the Robert rules here, do I need to have a motion to consider redoing the website?
I don't believe so, because you're not making an actual decision right now. So I believe it's just discussion, and we're still going through the motions.
Okay, thank you. All right, item number 11, project preparation and research updates. Directors to discuss, consider, and possibly take action on individual director research preparation and feasibility assignments. So what that refers to is some of you've taken on projects like CW just did with the comprehensive plan. I'll recap what I've done with my project thing is we went out and brought in a professional photographer that was not at city's expense. We took dozens and dozens of photos, which are good and usable, and the city can use them as they want. In preparation of the research material, I have talked to the printer. The printer's ready to print whenever we give them a product that can print. We have obtained the money for that. And like I said earlier, I'm simply not happy with the product, right? I will tell you that there were a number of slogans. The city council voted to keep the slogan behind me here. That is in the brochures, but I also tried to incorporate some of the slogans that the citizens suggested, because I think they wrote the text. So I think it's great, because I wrote it, right? But then I focused on Crossroads of Texas a little bit, and come to find out, the city of Hearn considers themselves the Crossroads of Texas and has that all over their stationery and on their city signs and stuff. So how they can be the Crossroads of Texas when they only have Highway 6 and 190, I don't know, when we have I-35 and 107, but anyway, so I'm gonna have to delete all that from the text, because they've already got that locked up. So I do have, just so you can remember, here were some of the slogans the citizens suggested. Unit, opportunity, Bruceville-Eddy, where Texas open for opportunity, built on tradition, where families thrive and futures begin, rooted in heritage, growing together, where neighbors are family, quiet strength, bold future, rooted in tradition, growing together, Texas charm, Bruceville-Eddy warmth, Eagle spirit, Texas pride, strong wings, strong roots, where eagles fly and community thrives, home of the Eagles, heart of Texas, soaring high in Bruceville-Eddy, where community takes flight, fly with the Eagles, live the dream, small town, big heart, where eagles fly and friendships thrive, soaring high together as one, building on the rock, rising into the future. Council made it clear they did not want to change, so that will be the prominent slogan in the brochures. So that's what I was working on. Patsy's working on the monuments, and we talked already. Do you want to add anything to that effort there? And then Sonda was working on the web stuff and helping me with the promotional stuff. Have you done anything since then? Kind of we're on a pause on that, right? And then I don't recall if anybody else took on another project. Am I missing a project? Did someone take on parks, and did we just drop that because of the?
I did.
Yeah, okay. Okay. All right, so when we vote on this stuff, though, those of you who don't have a project, I'm going to ask you to raise your hand and take on a project, right? So be careful what you vote on, right? An EDC staff, right? That spends all day working on this stuff, right? But we're just volunteers, right? Humble civil servants. All right, selection of, item number 12, selection of meeting dates for 2026. Directors to discuss, consider, and possibly take action to select dates and times for both regular quarterly meetings as well as the annual joint meeting with the City Council. Has the City Council already decided on their dates?
It'd be the fourth Thursday every month.
Have they decided on their joint meeting date?
No, they haven't said
I would suggest we pick our next quarterly meeting and leave the rest of the year open until the new city manager gets here and decides what
I agree.
he wants to do. Okay, so it's November. Shall we meet in February? So December, January, February? Yeah, 3 months? Anybody have do we still want to leave it on Tuesdays? Tuesdays works for me. Any day is going to work for me soon, because guess what? I'm retiring in 3.5 months. So I'm not retiring from.
Retired from that job.
I'm retiring from my working for Uncle Sugar. That's it. 3.5 months done. Third Tuesday of the month. Is that a holiday or anything?
What was the date?
17th. February 17th. Can I have a motion to make our next meeting Tuesday, February 17th of 2026?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Any opposition? All in favor? Aye.
Who made the first motion?
Ginger.
All right, so 17.
Did you want to try to make the rest of the meeting dates for 2026 or meeting by meeting?
No, we want to,
Okay.
we want to pause on that. So let's put that on the agenda for next meeting.
Okay.
Because by then we will have met with the city council and gotten a feel for how things are going to go going forward.
And that's also including a meeting in,
Yeah, they'll want a joint budget meeting at some point, which
Okay.
I'll try to do a better job of than I did last time, because I watched myself on YouTube and it was horrible. Anybody who'd want to say anything before we adjourn? Anything that's in anybody's craw or wants to talk about that we haven't talked about? And in the future, can we have an agenda item near the end that says, in the military, we call it alibis, but it's basically your last chance to say something before we get out of here? So I don't want to do all the talking.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Has the city, I know the new store is having a soft opening. They're gonna have a grand opening. Does the city plan to do like any kind of ribbon cutting or anything and do that?
They haven't gotten in touch with us yet, so I'll get with the mayor and find out, because they haven't scheduled anything or even came to us. I didn't even know it was open.
Yeah.
I would say that
No, because they
if
posted.
someone from EDC wanted to reach out, like normally the EDCs can handle grand openings and invite, but I mean, we're willing to help. I'm not saying that we won't.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect role for us, but the mayor needs to be the point person, in the photos and such.
Contacting.
The owner of, that I've met with him, but I know Kent was meeting with him regularly. The gentleman is the owner was somewhat surprised that I walked in and introduced myself, and so kind of that's on me, like I should have done it before, right? All right, so I'll take that as a learning point. He was happy to meet with me. I congratulated him on his opening and the job that he's done in that construction and outfitting of that facility, because he did a very good job. And I think it's a travel center we can all be proud of. But yeah, absolutely, when they have a grand opening, and going forward with any other business that opens and has a grand opening, yeah, I think we should be an integral part of that, so. But again, that's communication, right? We didn't know that there was a soft opening until, what, yesterday, right? Some of us knew yesterday. So, that's just communication, and obviously, I can do a better job of communicating with hearing new developers towards us, right? And then we could have a phone call and talk and set up a meeting and such, like we did with this new gas station coming. But again, we gotta know about it, because we all have lives, and this isn't our full-time job, so.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So some of the for sale signs that have gone up for properties,
Mm-hmm.
is it something that we need to maybe call the realtor and ask? Are you out promoting and trying to find a business to go there, or you just have it on a site and hope a business just jumps at it?
I think that's an excellent idea. I don't know how each of those folks are handling that
That way
situation.
we don't have 5 gas stations just on this main road.
I mean, that's certainly a discussion. I mean, you know I'm lockstep with you on that. I don't know how many gas stations we need before we say it's enough. It's gonna be in what they approve and don't approve. But if we're not careful, we're gonna be nothing but a gas station. So, with the benefits and problems that come with that. So we know that. I was up in Oklahoma last weekend, and I went to several Casey's, who now owns the Cefco lot. I have no idea what they're gonna do with it. I see what their footprint looks like and the kind of, because I went to several of them along the way, and each of them are a little different, but they stick to their Casey's branding and pretty much stick to their Casey's architecture. I think it probably would fit well in Bruceville-Eddy. It's got a country feel to it. This 2011 plan makes it very clear that the citizens wanted a developer of the other gas station, that Kent made it very clear that he didn't think the design fit our town. He wanted a more rustic look to it. It was a very modern, slick, square structure, and he was kind of sticking to the plan, saying, we really think you need to rework the facade on that. But, yeah, I mean, going back to my point earlier about obtaining land, like, if a piece of land comes available, the EDC could buy that land. Go to the bank, here's our revenue, here's what we're willing to put down, and then we can meet with developers and bring in who we want, versus we wait to see who buys it and what their proposal is, right? That's pretty aggressive. I don't know that this little town has, you know, there's a certain amount of risk in that, right? And you gotta really think like a business person to do that kind of stuff, right? And that's leaning forward. Can we as a group convince on an impossible sell? But I personally like the idea a lot, right? You know, why wait to see what comes? We can bring in what comes, right? If we control the commercial property, you know, then we can decide what goes there. And when I mean we, I mean the city council, right? Because whatever we recommend, they have to approve, right? So I'm all for, I mean, in the meantime, I'm all for, you know, us getting with the realtor and saying, hey, look, we want, if you agree with what I said earlier, we want grocery, banking, and that sort of thing here, not necessarily truck stops, and getting with the realtor and having them pursue those, helping us pursue those avenues. Building on that, just a little update. In the meantime, if you didn't see the city council meeting last time that I was at, I kind of updated them on what we had done collectively in the previous 3 months. And one of those was that we met with a developer who has, my understanding is, has bought the corner up there across from the bank, wants to put in a 14-pump gas station with fast food. As part of that, like I said, Kent said, I really don't think the design fits the comprehensive plan and what the citizens wanted, so you might rework the facade. I had some entrance on Franklin and 2 exits on Eagle Drive. And I'm like, that's not gonna work on Eagle Drive, not when we have school buses going up and down that road twice a day. You're gonna have to rework that traffic plan. And they understood that, and they understood my concerns. And then also, I said, look, you're asking to put a gas station at the entrance of our town, which is fine, but we would want something to beautify the town that, we got that. Tell us what you want, right? So we can get that. That was a pretty easy win. I'll reach back to that developer. It's an Austin developer that is backed by some foreign money. I don't know, have they come to the city, ladies, with anything since that meeting?
No, they haven't came back.
I mean, but, anyway, back to your point, yes, I think would be great. And I owe you promotional brochures and things like that you could hand out to a real estate agent to say, hey, look, this is who we are. And by the way, we kind of don't want 20 gas stations.
Well, I think what we have to look at, anything commercial, our biggest selling point is we're on the highway.
True.
What else do people buy off the highway?
Hotel rooms.
Okay, so a hotel would be an avenue.
Mhm.
I'm just saying that's what we have to keep in consideration of who we're trying to bring here. What we want is the money off the highway.
Right. Well, I haven't mentioned distribution, but this would be a wonderful place for distribution.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
It was just that those three things were my short-term goals. But if I were a Walmart or Costco or any big corporation that needs infrastructure and great geography for a distribution center, we're perfect, right? And I don't know all the politics of the past. City managers have come and gone. One city manager set things up in which everything on the other side of the railroad tracks is basically light industrial distribution. So I'm all for it. I don't have a back door into Costco or Walmart or whoever would want to do that, but
We'll call Elon.
I mean, all joking aside, why wouldn't Elon want to come here and build something here? I mean,
But if we're gonna do this, we need some traffic lights downtown. I don't know why we haven't had more accidents than what we've had.
well, getting back to the comprehensive plan, I mean, you guys have been in some meetings, you guys have not been in other meetings in which I've been with the city council saying the same thing. Where are so maybe as we work on the comprehensive plan, we kind of try to focus on some of that infrastructure. Like, my kids are grown, most of our kids are grown here, right? But I'm not heartless. Halloween just went by, and these kids are walking in ditches and down Main Street. They don't even have a sidewalk, right? Certainly, as we work on this comprehensive plan, we can think about things like sidewalks and streetlights and things like that to keep our citizens safe, right? It wasn't that long ago that we lost someone at Mayfest, right? So that's kind of on us to make our city more livable. Anything else? Please bring it up. I do want to mention that I met with Mr. Kilgore in the interim because there's been some friction between the city and the school district. I had a nice meeting with Mr. Kilgore, who happens to be my neighbor, right? But we met at the restaurant. And I got his perspective on many things. I think the deal is done for Eagle Drive, is that correct? Yeah, Miracle, I'm sorry.
Yes,
Okay.
it's done.
So he seemed pleased with that. I asked him what his intention was with the property along the highway, the old ball field. Of course, for the right amount of money. So when we're talking to people and to companies and businesses, at least you know that the school district is at least open to selling that land. Okay? And that's the kind of thing, as you hear things, maybe the rest of us don't know, let us know what you hear in the community, what might be available, not available. Like, there's some people that are gonna say, hell no, over my dead body will I ever sell this, right? But then we also need to know when Scott and White comes and says, hey, what do you have available or potentially available? I can report to you that the ball fields are potentially available, right? But we had a nice meeting, and I don't think it serves the community in any way, shape, or form to have friction between the city and the school, so whatever we can do to make that relationship better, I'm all.
Plan is to try to have access to the school from Old Moody Road.
I
The
ha-
property actually
It does.
I have no visibility on that. I haven't heard anything.
I mean,
Anybody?
I don't know about specific plans. I know that there's items in this comp plan that allude to it. Old Moody would be desirable, but I can tell you that where the city property intersects Old Moody is at that corner. And it's not desirable because of where it does intersect right at the corner. It's a blind spot. So from an engineering perspective, I think that would be a challenge and have to be worked through. But I think access through this new development, I mean, I haven't seen their documents. I don't know exactly their street configuration.
Pam, can you send that to us? I know I saw it during the meeting on the screen, but can you send their big picture plan, their street plan and stuff to us? Because I think that would be helpful as we work on this comprehensive plan. Because it's here, it's in our face. We don't have, it's coming. So we have to include its traffic pattern in our plan, right?
Yeah, anything related to that, whether it be the configuration of the roadways, incorporation of park facilities, I think could play into considerations for us. Also, and I made a note in this comp plan when I reviewed it, because there was something that talked about routes to school and sidewalks and things of that nature. There is, and they push out grant funding almost every year, assuming it still exists. I would have to call and check on it. But it essentially is a program that is what it says, safe routes to school. And so if you're gonna have this huge development, and any of it's gonna be walkable to the schools. And so I think that would be an avenue to facilitate some of that, especially if there are parks being considered.
We did, was it a year or two ago, Kent, our attorney did that, and we didn't get the grant, so that doesn't mean we can't apply for it again. Would take stock.
I looked at the plans that they were doing for this housing. Are we requiring them to have sidewalks throughout their housing addition? You can always pass an ordinance that says that the developers have to do that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a requirement in the city ordinance, but I can say with 1,000% certainty, WB Development will adhere to the minimum standards required by any municipality. You will be hard pressed to negotiate things above and beyond your minimum standards that are in place when they come in.
Well, I mean, that's a good point. Maybe we need to have the city council relook at we're already committed to the WB development plan, right? There's no going back now.
Correct.
Can you look, I guess I don't need you to look. We already know, right? We don't have it in our ordinance that any development will have streetlights and sidewalks and stuff, right?
Would have to check, I don't think sidewalks, streetlights, I don't know about those, because most of the streetlights the city has put in, we don't have it, put it this way, we haven't had a developer like this come to the city in a long time.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to make a little note here, but since you ladies control the city council's agenda, we need to get ahead of it and change our ordinance to ensure that we have sidewalks, streetlights, and crosswalks, right? As part of the development. Can you sneak that in on their agenda?
Yeah, we'll talk with mayor and get that ball rolling. And also, just for clarification, we went back to item number 8 just now with all the discussion on economic
We did?
development projects.
What was 8? Yeah, correct.
So maybe that's been negotiated.
I think so.
Darren,
Hmm.
Gail found something.
I have this from Eagle Prairie,
Oh, there it is.
and I think it does.
Next developer, if we don't put it in an ordinance, they might not give it to us.
Are they paying for the streetlights?
Yes,
Okay.
right. It's all part of the,
They don't, is it a homeowner?
they struck down the homeowners association, right? If you want the mayor to talk to one of us about this particular subject, or if you guys want to do it before it goes on the next agenda, then just let us know and we'll. Yeah, right. New city administrator,
When's he gonna get here?
the end of the month. He starts December 1st. And I'll just tell you what Pam told me. He's coming from Bedford, Texas, has lots of licenses, well qualified. So, what's his name?
Yes, his name is Lawrence Catrone. We believe that's how you pronounce the last name, or Cutrone.
Coutron? Okay, very good. All right, so before we adjourn, I'll give anybody a last shot at, if they want to bring something up.
No, I would like to add a little something. I think that website's gonna be a big help, and I think we need to spend some money on it. Our 60,000 doesn't sound like a whole lot, but you can build a pretty nice school that, you know, you don't just wanna hire some kid to do it for you. You want a professional outfit to do it. Yeah.
Okay. All right, then, board members, I'm going to ask you please to fill out your ballot, rank them 1 through 5. We'll gather them up and give them to Pam, and she can tabulate them for us, and then send us an email on what, how they ranked. And then if there's anybody else that needs to talk with me, I'll hang out after this a little bit. But other than that, I make a motion to adjourn. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
That's not bad.
I mean, this kind of deal we can.
Okay.
Right.
Ms. Pyle has made a motion that we adjourn. Ms. Duty has made a second. All in favor? Aye. All right, call the meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
And what are we gonna do with our ballots?
Let's fill them